Hello, welcome to Pedalboards of Doom, and this is the news this week. There's an awful lot to get through, so we're going to crack on with it. You're going to see me looking up there a lot because some of these things we're going to be talking about today have a lot of specs. So I've got all the notes written up there, so I am not rolling my eyes at you. Let's get on with it. This is the Boss GT1000 Core. We will call it the Core, everyone will. So it's Boss's take on the HX Stomp. Let's get it out of the way, we all know that. What we want to do is rattle off some of the specs on it. So I'll go through the specs quickly and then we'll start talking about it. So it's 32-bit, class leading, 250 presets. It only takes 670 milliamps. It's the same size as a 500 series, so like the DD500, which you can see behind me there, the white pedal right there. You've got 140 amps effects. You can use 24 blocks at once, so that's 24 different effects, amps, whatever, all at once, in 4 chains. So if you've got a stereo, if you've got 2 amps and you've got it running stereo, you can do parallel on both of them, so you can have 4 chains running at once. It's got a huge screen on it, which is really great, although it's not color. So that's the trade-off, and that's probably why it's less milliamps than something like HX Stomp. Let's carry on. You've got 5 different customizable toggles on there, knobs on there. Plus you can customize what like the Control 1 does, and etc. and different combinations of switches. We have a lot of effects. I don't think it's going to have all of the customization that you get on the DD500 and RV and MD500, but it's got a lot of the effects that are on there. It's got the fastest patch changes of any multi-effects, apparently, ever. It's got tuner built in, it's got a looper tune built in, but we're going to talk about loopers more later. And it will take 16 IRs. So, that's it in a nutshell. But let's have a look how it compares to something like HX Stomp, because that is the only competition it's got out there. Firstly, this is more expensive. Okay, this is where my money's going. I've got one of these coming. Okay, so that's my take on it. But the HX Stomp will only let you do 6 effects at once. And some of those effects take more than 1 block, so sometimes you can only use 4 or 5 effects at once. This will let you use 24. Don't get me wrong, 6 effects in a line is quite a lot, but 24 is better, and more is more. So that's really cool. I like the fact that you can have the 4 chains running at the same time. That's very exciting. I'm a big guy for parallel switching and this sort of thing. It's got 2 effects loop. Now the HX Stomp has 2 effects loops as well, but you have to use a TRS cable to do it. It's just weird. I'm not sure why that is. So if I bring up the picture of the back panel on here, you can see you've got stereo in, then you've got sender return 1, sender return 2, stereo's out, and then that control expression 1, that's for your first expression pedal. And if I bring this one up just under my face here, you can see you've also got another port for an extra control out as well, so you can start linking this up to something like your ES8, and you can start adding on multiple expression pedals and switches and these sort of things, so you can grow this into like the full size thing. This has everything in it that the full size GT1000 has. One of the things that the GT1000 was known for, and this is professional guitarists telling me this, the amps are some of the best modelled amps ever. They've concentrated on the push-pull side of things in terms of how the valves react on the push-pull. I remember Matt United telling me about this when it first came out. This is over a year ago now. But they feel right. They sound good, but they feel right, and that is so important. You've got all your legacy Boss pedals in there and these sort of things which you would expect. 140 amps and effects on it at the moment. They have added more. I think the HX Stomp has around 300, but you know, how many effects are there? You know, I've got a lot of effects, as you'd imagine, and I don't have that many. So yeah, Very, very excited about this. Got lots of ideas running around in my head about how I'm going to integrate it with the ES5 and other bits and pieces that are coming. So yeah, very, very excited. Let's move on to the next bit of news. We're going to save some more Boss news for later so we don't saturate ourselves, and we're going to quickly talk about Victory. So this is crazy. I remember talking to the guys over in Victory a while back, and they were telling me that, you know, this was the beginning of the year, and we were talking about rebranding the Countess into the Jack back then, and I forgot all about it. Completely forgot about it, and then you know, they went and done it. Not only have they rebranded all the Countess, so all of the Countess amps, that's the lunchbox, that's the Countess big one, Max or whatever they call it, I forget. They're all now called the Jack. That's the only difference. It just looks really, really, really cool. Look at that. Look at that. You know, that it looks amazing. Also notice the Sheriff has a new decal on it as well. So that's they've not changed the name of that, but they have changed the decal. The Kraken stayed the same. That's always looked great. If you're wondering, these are the V4 preamp pedals, and they do have the V4 full amp Duchess, which I've got on my board, which is amazing. That isn't the only Victory news that has come out this week. They've also, you might have seen 2 Notes and Victory have teamed up. So our friends at 2 Notes are friends at Victory, happen to be friends as well. Who knew? So they have teamed up, and they've been releasing cabs which relate to their pedals, because a lot of Victory users use IRs. They want to be able to use the 2 Notes virtual cabs. They've released this week 2 more. So the Kraken and the Duchess now have their cabs out for 2 Notes. Brilliant. Yeah, and if you're listening, our friends over at 2 Notes, Jason, Jeremy, I would like that. Okay, right, so we this dropped today, which I didn't know about, and I'm very surprised by. JHS have released 7 new pedals. They've called them the Free Series. So every pedal has the same chassis, which obviously helps with costs. They've each got 3 knobs and a switch. I'm not going to go into the details of every single one, so what I'm going to do is quickly go through them. You've got chorus, and the switch turns it into a vibrato. Brilliant. You've got a compressor, and the switch gives you a bright mode on it. The delay, the switch goes between warm and clear, so it's emulating digital and analog delay. Distortion, it either gives you more compressed or more open modes. The fuzz has a fat boost on the switch, but also I want to mention it's got a bias knob on it as well. Very, very, very cool. I'm hoping that's like a fuzz face type fuzz. The overdrive also has more compressed saturated sounds and then open sounds on the switch, and you've got a reverb as well, which is amazing at this price point, which I'll come to in a second. And the switch gives you pre-delay, so it doesn't allow you to dial in the amount of pre-delay, it just gives you a predetermined amount of pre-delay. But pre-delay on a budget verb is fantastic. Now all of these are $99 for an American made JHS pedal. That's brilliant. That really, really is. You can see where they've tried to save a few pennies on there, with, like, you know, they haven't had a new decal design for each one. They've used the same chassis over and over again, and these bits and pieces. So yeah, it looks really, really good. Nice one, Josh. Yeah, I'd like to get my hands on them and try them out. See what sort of sounds we can get out of them. Moving on, let's come back to Boss then. Okay, so this, I'll be able to give you some full details on this soon, because one of these will be landing very soon. I'm quite excited about it. So this is the RC5, and let me just move this down for a second, and that is the RC-500. So I've got the RC3 down there, used it for quite some time. It's a really good pedal, and I like it a lot. What we've got, let me tell you about these, because you would be forgiven for thinking like I did, and I'd admit that. I thought these were basically more or less the same, and one was just a slightly bit bigger, but there are some very important differences. Okay, both of them have 44.1 kilohertz sampling frequency. That's really good. Both from a 32-bit, that is class leading. There aren't any more powerful loopers out there. Okay, both of them have 13 hours approximate capacity with about 1.5 hours per loop. No one's doing a loop over an hour. No one's doing a loop over 10 minutes. Anyway, moving on. They have some really cool rhythm sections in them. The drums on the RC3 left a lot to be desired. I use it and I just use it to give myself a bit of rhythm and these sort of things, but they did leave a lot to be desired. They have stepped the drums up on this massively. So both pedals have 57 drum patterns with 2 variations. So I'm guessing that means you've got 114 drum patterns. But you also have 7 kit types. So when you're on that drum pattern that you find and the variation of it, you can choose one of 7 kits to use it. However, the RC-500 has 16 kits, so more than double. Both of them have effects that you can add to these drums, but on the RC5, the effect that you can add to the drums is a bit of reverb. On the RC-500, you can add things such as, and not limited to, beat repeat. Oh yeah. Scatter, and vinyl flick. Ooh. There are much more. There was about 5 or 7, something along those different effects. I just ran out of room to write it down. But yeah, there's loads more you can add to it. You can see that you've got like track 1 and track 2 on here as well. So whereas you're limited to working with one track, you can actually overlay the two different tracks on the RC-500. This RC-500 is more for your professional loopers. So let's reel off the names that everyone reels off. The Kate Hunstalls. Saw her once at a Boss gig. Absolutely unbelievable. Ed Sheeran, another very talented looper. And there's loads of guys out there and girls who are doing the looping thing, and we just can't even hold a flame to them. They are amazing. But that's what the RC-500's for, in my opinion. The RC5 is for us mere mortals who like the RC3 but want something a bit better. It's got a nice big screen on it. You've only got like 2 little numbers on the RC3. This, you've got a full LCD screen. Yeah, very, very, very cool. Looks proper easy to use. Biggest thing for me on here. Okay, and this is big news, and it could lead to something even bigger. This is a Boss compact. Okay, any Boss that you see this size from the early days even, so these are both really old Boss pedals from 70s, 80s. Any of these that you see, these are called Boss compacts. That RC5 is the first Boss compact that has MIDI. This could lead to some really big things, because if you imagine something like the SY1 with MIDI, that would be amazing. That's what we want. We want presets on things like the SY1. Please, Boss, please do it. We can see that you're capable of doing it. The MIDI on these, by the way, is all done through Mini TRS, the same as on the GT1000 as well, which I think you can see in this image here. So Mini TRS like they have on the 200 series. Okay, right, and then on to the last bit of news for this week, which is kind of like, I've just saw it just before we came live, so I don't have a huge amount of info on it, but it is so cool. Right, this is a Bit Crusher. And this is where everyone goes, oh, switch off, stay, listen. Right, promise me you're going to go and watch the Electro Harmonics video on this, because it's funny, it made me laugh. They're more or less using it as a distortion overdrive pedal for the first bit, but they're using it on bass and stuff like that. But this thing does your old 8-bit sounds. This is going to make you sound like your old Nintendo, your old Atari, your old Commodore 64. It's really, really, really great. I've only got a few bits and pieces written on it, so you can go from 24-bit down to 1-bit tones. I mean, you can get your 8-bit sort of sounds like your Master System and Mega Drive, etc. I've noted down, I've put like, it sounds like mega fun. Mate, it sounds like Mega Man. It's brilliant. Yeah, I fell in love with this just watching a quick video on it. I really want to get my hands on one of these. You can see that the filter section where it's got peak and frequency, you've got 3 switches, a 3-way switch which switches between high pass filter, BPF, so I'm guessing that's bass pass filter, maybe, and then LPF, which is low pass filter. Bass pass filter and low pass filter be the same thing? I don't know. Anyway, it says it's got presets on it. I can't see anything about MIDI on it, but presets on a bit, you know, something like this, a bit crusher, could be cool. Right, that is it. So I will see you next week, and yep, sorry it's been a long one. Oh look, before you go, do like and subscribe. We need the likes because it makes the algorithm share us more. So like, subscribe and all that stuff. We love you, we really do. So I am going to take this off of here, and now some videos and stuff and all that will appear that you can go and click on. And I'm still talking. Why am I still talking? Bye.